Crop and Slice tools. Hi guys, our lesson today is dedicated to the crop and slice tools. Let's see how it works and how it can be useful. Using the crop tool, which is located here, we can change the proportions of our image by framing it, and we can also add some additional areas if we consider it necessary. For example, if I now take the slider and move it, then I will add some area that will be filled with a background color. It happens if you haven't previously unlocked the background. If the background is unlocked, transparent pixels will appear, as we did in previous classes. Let's now take a closer look at how you can crop an image using this tool. Well, first of all, of course, you can do it like this. You can move this frame and choose those proportions that, in your opinion, seem more appropriate. But you can also set these proportions yourself. You can choose the proportions in the top menu. For example, if we put 5 to 7, then no matter how we change, we will keep these proportions. If I lower the frame like this, then it becomes horizontal, like that. I am back to the original image now. And if you want, for example, to do cropping with other settings, you need to click Clear. In this case, the settings are reset, and you can install new ones. For example, you can even set specific dimensions in width and height, taking into account the resolution. For example, we set it in millimeters. Well, let's say 130. Here a frame like this appears, and I can set the number of pixels, let's say 72. Well, assume that it will be for the web. And so I got this kind of framing. I return to the source again. Let's choose Clear to reset our settings. And let's see what other possibilities the crop tool provides us. Firstly, when we select it, we have a mesh like this, which applies the rule of thirds. Thus, according to this mesh, we can arrange the most significant objects when creating a composition, so that they are at the intersection of 1/3 approximately. This is especially clearly seen, of course, in portraits. Well, some significant elements should be at the intersection of these lines. Then your composition will be more harmonious. Well, for example, in this way. But if you are not there satisfied with this approach, then you can choose others. For example, you can choose the golden ratio. If you know what it is and how it works, you can also choose the golden spiral. In short, if you are familiar with these concepts in composition, then you can use them when working with this tool. Well, let's reframe it this way. Now I click twice inside it, and so I got something like this. And now let's correct the perspective with the help of a tool from the same group. We choose the next tool, which is called Perspective Crop, and use it to select our image. We have a mesh, and we align the edges of this mesh so that it is parallel to the walls of our house, because we want these walls to be parallel to the edges of the image. Like that. And all the perspectives are fixed. You can also correct the perspective in this way. By the way, this is the first homework assignment. Using the crop tool, we can also align the horizon line. If it is tilted, we select the crop tool, and if we look in the top menu, we see there is an option to straighten. Select it and draw a line with the left mouse button, which would repeat the line of our horizon. In this case, this is the edge of the field. Let it go. So now the horizon line is strictly horizontal. Click twice and that's it. Everything is ready. And this will be the second homework task. Now let's talk about the slice tool. It is usually used by web designers. First, the design layout of the future site is drawn. As a rule, it is drawn in Photoshop. In such layouts, designers draw the site header, logo, menu, blocks with information, and so on. Then the layout designer takes the slice tool and cuts this layout into separate fragments. What is it for? Each fragment of the site should work, and they work due to code. Therefore, it is necessary to divide the layout into small parts, and each of them will have its own code, so that in the end everything on the website will work. But we will look at a more simple way. We will look at how you can use this tool to create a design like this for Instagram. That is, we will take the image, crop it, and divide it into 9 equal parts, which will then be uploaded to the Instagram account. Open the desired image. And first, we need to make it square, because it will eventually consist of squares. Therefore, the crop tool is selected. We choose a 1-to-1 square. So, well, let's put the rule of thirds here. It's somehow more familiar. And we have everything in such a way that we have a composition that would suit us. That's the rule of thirds. You see, I just get the intersection of lines in the area of the girl's eye. And it's fine. So we cropped it. Now click twice. Now we need to set the size. The fact is that the maximum size of an image in Instagram on one side is 1080 pixels. Since we'll create 3 images in a row, then we need 3240 pixels. Let's compare this with the image size that we have. So the image size, yes, and of course we have a much bigger size. Since we have a log, the height also changes proportionally. So we press OK. So that's what we got in the end. Now we have to divide this image into 9 equal parts. To do this, we take the slice tool and select the entire area of our image. At the same time, we have such a special icon in the corner, which means that this tool has been applied. Right-click, and we choose to divide slice and set the amount that we need. Here, there is one by default. We will set 3 to 3. OK. And now we just have to save these squares, so that each of them is a separate file. And here choose Save for Web. In older versions, if you want to do this, you need to go to the file, Save, and select Save for Web. But in newer versions, starting with Photoshop CC, you need to choose Export, and here choose Save for Web, or pressing Alt plus Shift plus Ctrl plus S. Select, a dialog box appears. Select, firstly, High Quality JPEG. Although, of course, there are other formats here, but it is still used mainly for website design. Here we select JPEG, and then look at the quality. It makes sense to set a maximum of 100. You can also use the tools you see on the left to zoom in and out the image. You can change the background color, but this applies more to PNG files, because then transparent pixels will be replaced with this color. Well, we don't really care what color we have there now. By the way, here you can compare the quality that was before and after. That is, how our image will look after we finish everything. We have a fairly good image, and its quality hasn't suffered. That is, for example, if we set the quality lower, then we see how the image on the right changes. And when we set the maximum quality, well, it immediately improves. And we click Save. After that, we will have a separate folder created, in which all our 9 images will be located. Save. So let's see what we got. We have a folder called Images, which contains 9 images. Now we can post them in Instagram. You need to post them in 3 pieces, so that they then become one line. And the first one should be the file number 9. Well, as a result, when you post them, you'll get something like this. I mean, if you take this opportunity and divide some image into 9 fragments, then it will look something like this on Instagram. And now let's look to another tool that is located here. Slice Select tool. With it, you can select a fragment or several fragments by holding down Shift. For example, here are 3 fragments that I have chosen. Well, let's leave one, and by clicking the right mouse button, you can, for example, select, divide or delete a slice. Let's choose to divide slice, and here we can also divide it into some pieces, if we need it. And also, if you are going to continue working on this image, but these lines that we created are interfering with you, then you can press Ctrl plus H and it will disappear, like that. In order to return it, press Ctrl plus H again. That's how it all came back. This way you can hide them and return them. It is not deleted, it is just hidden. These are the slice lines. Let's remember what we have done today. And at the same time, I will remind you what tasks you need to do as a homework. The first task is to crop and correct the perspective of this house. The second task is to align the horizon line in this file. And the third homework task is to crop and divide into fragments a file with a girl. And that's all for today. It was Peter Romanov and AIM School. See you next time.